As families grow, their home needs change. If you need to make some improvements to your home, West Tennessee Bank can help. Our home improvement loans are designed to help you live more comfortably. West Tennessee Bank, a division of Decatur County Bank. We think you'll like us. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
We're going to continue the meeting at this time, and the first thing on our agenda is going to be the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, upon the advice of council, I move that we reconsider the board's vote at the November 30th, 2017 meeting to award the bid for the high school edition of EUT.
All right, we have a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion second that we suspend, is that correct?
Reconsider.
the bid. All right. Any other discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we will reconsider that bid. All right, at this time, we do have a motion that was already coming from our committee to accept the lowest bid. We have any action on that?
Bob, after we reviewed the bid sheets, it appeared the proposed bid that appeared to be the low bid on those bid sheets was not actually the low bid at this time. So I would move that we do not accept the proposed bid from the committee and take action on that to, I would say, vote no, just to move that proposal off the table.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, then the motion was to accept the low bid. So all in favor of accepting the low bid say aye. Opposed,
Aye.
no. Okay.
No.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. The motion was to accept the low bid, correct? Okay. When that was a motion from the committee.
The motion that was on from the committee was to accept the low bid, which was at that time thought to be Barger.
Right. But
I'm saying that's not the low bid after reviewing the bid sheet, so we need to, I would encourage the board to vote no from the committee's proposal because it was not actually the low bid.
okay, so what I'm saying then, does anyone, do we have a, okay, bid yes on the committee's proposal? Okay, then oppose the committee's. Is that all right?
Yes, you're right.
Okay, all right, then, all right, all in favor of going with the committee's recommendation, say aye. Opposed, no.
No.
Okay, so then the
Motion fails.
The motion has failed. Okay, and with that being said, at this time, I would entertain a motion that this discussion for the bids be tabled to the next meeting.
I make the motion.
I see.
All right, and we make a motion to table the discussion on the bids to the next meeting. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. All right, and we will table that to the next meeting so we can maybe take a closer look at the bids and decide what would be the best and best.
Let's go ahead and take some action.
Okay, in the consent agenda, we do have some budget amendments. Do I have a motion, in the previous minutes, do we have a motion to approve those?
I'll make the motion.
All right, we have a motion second to approve the minutes from the previous meeting and the budget amendment. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, and that is approved. Okay, the next thing on our agenda is going to be delegations.
Emily Johnson's here.
You want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. You can let the guys go if they want to go first.
Well, they're following you.
Okay. That's
So
fine.
you set the mark.
Okay. Well, I forgot my glasses, so I'm going to do my best to read tonight. But anyway, first of all, before I start on what I came to talk about, I want to thank y'all for your belief and investment in our Chamber Bucks program. That's a new program that we've started at the Chamber. I'm happy to say that as of today, we've sold over $16,000 worth of Chamber Bucks. And just this month in December, we have reimbursed local business and chamber members over $5,000. So that's money that's staying right here in our community, being reinvested. The chamber gets nothing out of it. We just do it as a free service to our chamber members to encourage shopping local and to support our businesses. So I publicly want to thank y'all for that, for doing that for the teachers, and hopefully you'll get some good feedback and we can work on it next year and, you know, maybe make some improvements or different things. But I'm actually here tonight to talk about something else. I used to do marketing for a company, and I went into schools every day, sometimes 2 or 3 a day. And I would look around, and I really looked at my first impression of the school. And I noticed that the wisest schools honor a wide range of accomplishments right when you walk in. They recognize and convey the value of arts, athletics, academics, and service. They also honor the families and the community members who made an important contribution to their students, and first impressions are often the most lasting impressions. Schools that aim to help young people develop an array of talents and knowledge, shouldn't schools make it clear when people walk in their facility that that's what's important and when they walk into their building? One of my favorite quotes, and one that I keep on my inspiration board in my office, says this: "Every job is a self-portrait of the person who did it. Autograph your work with excellence." I believe this also relates to our physical environment. We may not live in the largest house, the nicest house, the most expensive house, but if we keep it clean and well maintained, it shows that we have pride in ourselves. It is very clear that you take very good pride in our school buildings and our grounds. You have also shown that pride and care when you upgrade gyms by adding new bleachers or a sound system, add smart boards in the classrooms to keep up with technology, building new tennis courts, or even adding a press box. We all realize that no matter how much care and concern and attention is given to physical spaces, in time, they must be updated at some point. We realize that our job or space is a portrait of ourselves and of our community. We want it to be autographed with excellence. You have a hidden treasure, and it has been well maintained over the years, cared for and used by many, many students, community members, and visitors. That hidden treasure is Williams Auditorium. I'm not sure when the last time Williams Auditorium was updated, but I know it's been a long, long time, and it's been very well maintained. But I am sure you are aware that it has become outdated. But as you consider the possibility and potential of upgrading the venue based on the past, you can be confident that it will still be well taken care of and loved just like it has for years. Williams Auditorium is the primary event venue for Chester County, and there are very, very few 800 to 1,000 seat venues in our region. Even in its current condition, it stays packed busy. Call Coach or Dr. Kirk and you can tell, I mean, it's just like, no, we can't fit you in, no, we can't fit you in. Pageants, events, all of that. I hope all of y'all are aware of the Chamber's biggest production there, and that's Hee Haw. And some of you board members are in Hee Haw, and we appreciate that. But we do have to bring in our own sound equipment and our sound speakers and engineer and all of that. But there's a lot of organizations who use Williams Auditorium that don't have the resources that we have to bring in the updated sound system to make their production high quality. I'm not here to complain about that, but simply to start a conversation about the amazing potential that your hidden treasure has. In my line of work, most of the successful programs we have had in my organization start from someone simply opening up the conversation and starting a dialogue. Williams Auditorium is home to many events like chorus and band concerts, kindergarten graduation, and theater productions, as well as numerous community events. An up-to-date Williams Auditorium would only improve the existing events and the visitors' experience inside our schools. Our schools have always been a place of community pride. We love to talk about them and show them off in our region and our state. Upgrading Williams Auditorium would allow us to showcase our school pride not only in athletic event venues, but also in the arts to our students, our community, and our region. Improving Williams Auditorium would also allow the potential to attract new events. We are all aware that new seating, upgrading sound, lights, backstage facilities are a must to be able to explore potential for hosting outside events. Examples would be like the Ned in Jackson. It's updated, but it only seats 450 people, but they get major acts. Another one that may be more related to us is Huntington and the Dixie. It seats under 400, but it's up to date, and they get major acts into their community. So upgrading Williams Auditorium would benefit the entire community. Every day at the Chamber, we work to improve our community, recruit jobs, and expand and educate our workforce. The school system plays a major role in education and for our workforce pipeline. And we at the Chamber realize we must create jobs for the students that you're educating today. We want those students to stay in our community and become productive citizens. Business and industry location decisions have been primarily driven by land cost, labor costs, and access to markets. But today, however, quality of life and sense of place for employees is now topping the list of the reasons why businesses locate in a community. Firms select locations that will attract and retain a well-educated workforce. Thus, the community must offer cultural and recreation amenities. Upgrading the auditorium would benefit the current arts and theater students, and even students who are interested in like the production side of it. Sound, lights, stage management. They don't have the current technology to even walk into another venue and run their sound system or their lights or their stage management skills. So just like our sidewalks, our parks, and education play an important role in quality of place, art venues do as well. All of this is part of economic and community development. Improvements, of course, would create an environment that you, our students, and our faculty, and our community could be proud of. I hear all the time, Chester County doesn't have an event venue, Chester County doesn't have this, doesn't have that. And every time I look at something in my work, I always say, are we working smarter, not harder? We have a hidden treasure in Williams Auditorium. There's just not a lot of event venues that size in our region. So we have one. There's no sense in going building a new one when we have something that we have. So has so much pride and history in it already. So I will close with another one of my favorite quotes. Leaders think and talk about solutions and potential. Followers think and talk about problems. So tonight I don't want to leave focused on the negative of Williams Auditorium, but with the focus on the potential for Williams Auditorium. Thank you. Questions?
That's just have some comments. I know Shane is a big advocate for you on this. I believe he is
Because she's right.
Because he has complained about those seats before, I think.
Well, it's not just about the seats. As many of you may or may not know, I worked 3 years for the city of Jackson as a special events consultant. And in that time, they have a 3,000 seat venue, they have a 450 seat venue. They have nothing in the middle. And it was my job to attract touring shows to town. And many of the touring shows will say, do you have something that seats about 800 people? Because they don't want to look lost in 3,000 or couldn't fit in a 400. And it's, you would not believe the quality of cultural enhancement it would bring to this community and surrounding communities. No other town touching us has a venue of this size. But not just for the potential drawing, but for the pride of our local events we already have. Who doesn't want to go to kindergarten graduation or hee-haw and not hear squeaking all night long? Or a play. You know, my daughter's in all the plays, and every time, you know, the line comes up, you want to hear it. That's when somebody's going to get up and squeak their seat, you know. So absolutely, we need to look at that.
Any other comments? Well, what about if we, do you think maybe get somebody, I know a year or two ago, we actually looked at that, didn't we?
I've got copies of the material that we did after Shane had sent that out. I went back and looked. These were just budgeted numbers of what possibly the cost would be. We had actually purchased a curtain. These costs are high. We know that expectation, that these numbers were high. It was budgeted high, hopefully coming in lower, but it gives you an estimate. But there's just a reminder, this was done about 2 years ago, just so you can see, and that's the actual cost of what the curtain was, approximately $6,600 for the curtain. But the top part about Chester County Middle School auditorium seating, there's not specific line item cost for each one, but budgeted together, it was around $390,000 was the budgeted dollar. Now, I'm saying minus $6,600 that we did spend on the curtain, the valance, and I think even the tracks. Is that right, Brett?
Yes.
Okay. So we know it'll be less than, I mean, budgeted, numbers are high, but we're looking at something less than $390,000.
But I do think that that was one of our concerns, and that was a pretty high number.
Was the seats included on this?
Yes,
Oh, I see.
auditorium
I see.
seating, yes.
Yeah.
It just, it was not itemized with each individual. I would assume that the largest cost would be the seating.
Maybe see if we can get us some kind of figures or ballpark figures or.
If the board wants us to take some action to do some more specific revisits, these are just, again, numbers by people who do that type of work. These are budgeted high numbers, we know that. We would expect that if this went to a bid process, we would come in lower.
Is this something that can be done in stages?
Yes.
Partly?
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion that you look into it, and get some figures, some real figures, and what it would take.
And I would just in the conversation remind the board that this isn't necessarily a cost, it's an investment. $300 and something thousand sounds like a lot of money until you start having the quality of events in a venue like this surrounding towns have. So it's an investment for the whole community, but specifically speaking well of our school system when those thousands of people are walking to the doors year after year.
I second.
All right, so we do have a motion second, we are going to look in and see if we can get some more accurate figures, and then we can decide if we wanted to put it out for bid. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Thank you, Emily, you're a great salesperson. Okay, at this time, I think we're going to be entertained. These gentlemen on the front row here. Introduce the guys.
Doc, Catlett, you want to introduce your team?
Let them go ahead, they'll.
My name is Riley. I'm Brandon Hall. I'm Rick Simon. And before we demonstrate our robot for you tonight, we wanted to tell you guys a brief history about how it came to be. So this year, to go to Beta Convention in Nashville, we have to compete in some sort of contest that they facilitate. And so we chose to do robotics because no Chester County school in the past or Beta Club in Chester County in the past has ever competed in that competition. So we thought it'd be cool to try out because we all kind of, we were interested in it before, but we never really done anything serious with it. And so we got on the Beta website and we're looking at the guidelines and the restrictions for your robot, for it to pass the test to get into the, qualify. And we couldn't really find anything that was really specific, and so we weren't really sure what we were building for. And so, we were just, our mindset was, we just needed to get something to go to Beta. And so we started looking up like some cool ideas or, spitballing around. So we came up with the Rubik's Cube solver. So we started to build it and we finished it. We got it programmed and everything. We couldn't get it to work. We worked on it for a week or two, and our time until convention was getting short, and we realized that we had a problem. We needed to get something done. So and we couldn't get it to work, so we took it completely apart and we started to build a
Paper shredder.
Paper shredder. We built a Lego paper shredder, and we got done with it in a few days. We looked at it, I was like, this is, we're gonna get laughing and walking in with a Lego paper shredder. So we tore it apart, and then we built the printer. We built a printer. It had a roll of receipt paper and a Sharpie. It would write out words as you would, whatever you programmed it to say. We got done with that. We looked at it and said that's just not good enough. And so I came back into class one day. Me and Bradley walked in, and Riley and Briggs have been there the period before us, and our robot was destroyed. And in its place, they had rebuilt the Rubik's Cube solver. And so we worked on it for a few more days, and we figured out what our previous problem was. And so this time we actually got it to work.
Yeah, I guess you guys ready to see it work. So, somebody was gonna scramble it, you're gonna scramble it for us? Now, whenever we got to convention, we walked in the little hallway where our room was, we were supposed to go for the competition, and there was people set up there down the hallway, and I mean, their robots were about this wide, about this tall. We were like, yeah, we have no chance at all. Plastic Lego robots like this big. We were for sure that we were not even gonna be bad at all. So we go into the very corner because we're embarrassed. Like we don't want people to see. We don't want people to see our robots. And then eventually we like get it working and stuff, and we have people coming over to us and stuff. Like they're just checking it out, you know. And so we get into the competition, and they say, okay, you have 15 minutes to set up, and we're like, okay, we're already done. We had a little we flipped it over, put the robot on top of it, just sit in the floor. So whenever the judges come, like we explain to them, you know, what we did and how it works, and then we demonstrated it. And then whenever they went away and they were done judging, it was time for a showcase. So we had 30 minutes to showcase, and everybody that was there left their robot and came to ours. We had 30, 40 people. 30, 40 people just surrounding us, just watching our robot.
The coolest part of it is when they called time for the showcase, we looked up as the people were leaving, and we realized that we were the last people who actually had a robot in there because everybody else already packed up and left. But we still had so many people wanting to see it that we had packed up for it.
Well, you scrambled it up. I think you could probably do a little better. We want to solve it in about 20 seconds.
Norris saw it was an abacus.
I also want to mention, while we were at the competition, it did solve it in its fastest time ever, in 47 seconds. So, works.
All right, guys,
Yeah.
when y'all start ready to go, y'all move south so
Okay.
everybody can see and that the camera can see y'all as well.
Okay, let's see your shank, okay.
So when you sit in there, that thing on the front is a CFX going in, and run out spinning all sides around, and the top is a color scanner. And so it's just gonna go, it's gonna do all 6 sides, and then after that, hopefully it'll scan again.
We have to take 33 scans to get all the colors in. The other time
How did y'all get the color scanner?
It came with a kit, the Lego EV3 kit, and
A grant, is that correct? That Ms. Moore, that Ms. Kim got for you all as a grant?
here they go.
They've already won first place.
But on the screen, it'll show how many moves are left. It has a running clock.
how long it's taking. We, during the award ceremony, you know, we had already counted ourselves out and figured, we weren't gonna win, so I think, I showed up in gym shorts and a t-shirt and get ready to bus ride home, and all of a sudden they got to robotics and they called, you know, the top 3 teams or whatever, and they called us first and then the 2 other schools, and so we like, we got 3rd place, and we got up there to the stage, they called 3rd, and we're like, it's not us, we got 2nd. They called 2nd, it wasn't us, and so we started freaking out.
And only one representative from each team is supposed to go across, and all 4
All
were so excited. The second place people didn't even show up.
Yeah.
We almost took 2nd place on accident. But it's been awesome. It's been really blessed to be able to go to Bay Convention, and I guess blessed to be here to shut it down.
It is.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you so much. So we have something for you guys. We can hand that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, guys, I would like to make mention, appreciate y'all being here, but if y'all have other places to be, y'all can leave or y'all can stay.
I do appreciate, I mean, guys, these are the things that we celebrate Chester County for. And I appreciate the fact that, again, and what is more significant to me is this is not one of these first drafts. Think about how many times it took you to get there. That's where the true learning takes place. Trial and error, but not quitting and showing the fortitude and the grit. You've heard that before, to persevere. Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you, high school. Appreciate it. Thank you, leadership.
Merry Christmas.
Unless Mr. Kilser plans on singing with me, you know, she can sing, and I'm happy to sing.
Don't worry about it so much.
Well, I did sing the other night, I had a partner, and if he would like to join me, I'll be happy to do that. You'll force him into it? I
work for them.
Not fire me.
But you work for me, that's right.
All right, next thing on here is going to be Mr. Jeff Lewis, about raising funds for students to attend the National Beta Convention.
Well, you've just been entertained by 4 of our students. We actually took 97 students to Beta Convention back in November 16th through the 18th at Nashville. Beta Club's mission statement is to promote the ideals of academic achievement, character, service, and leadership among elementary and secondary school students. Achievement, recognizing and honoring high academic achievement. To be in Beta Club, all students have to have a 93% cumulative GPA. Character, preparing young people for life and empowering them to be successful. None of our students have discipline referrals in the Beta Club. Leadership, developing the leaders of tomorrow. They show leadership skills, and I think you saw that here this evening. They didn't need an introduction, they could introduce themselves. Service, demonstrating the motto, let us lead by serving others. There are 4 service projects required each year by the Beta students. We recently gave over $800 to the Angel Tree program, which is done by Student Council at the high school. We support Pennies for Patients in the spring, which is for the Leukemia Foundation. About $800 will go toward that. And every student is required to do 2 projects, one in the fall, one in the spring. We help out with things from the barbecue festival to the alumni banquet to the fall festivals that the elementary schools do, all kinds of different activities, and these students help out as they're needed. They're always asked, they call the high school all the time and say, you have some Beta members and come and help us. So that's part of the thing, is serving. So to go to the state convention, it cost each student $150, and they paid that out of their own pocket. And that did not include spending money for food while we were there. You've heard from the students tonight that won first place for robotics. They now have the opportunity to go to the national convention to participate and compete with their robot there. Also, I understand last month you heard from the new state Beta secretary, Presley Connor, who won first place there in the candidate for secretary. And she also has the opportunity to run for national office now at the national convention. The national convention is held June 17th through the 20th in Savannah, Georgia. Now I've looked at some prices. Each room is going to cost $219 there at the convention center. There's a $25 Beta convention registration fee. And I've already checked with the Wise Bus Company again, who we use to go to Nashville, and it's going to cost $6,553 for the bus to go and come back. That figuring it out would cost each student somewhere between $300 to $350 each. More than double, twice or more than twice as much as it costs for the state convention. So I know that we have to have fundraising in near the beginning of the school year. That's required by the board. And I understand that if we put in something that we are going to raise funds for a state convention and then don't go, that the auditors have an issue with that. So my concern was, how can I help these students with this expense and still allow them to go to this national convention, which they would so much like to do. So my request is that we are able to, in some way, maybe look for some ways to raise some funds, whether that be through some sponsorships, because I know that there's already some businesses that might be interested because of the robotics, of actually sponsoring them, or doing some other activities. The students actually came up with a list that I have here of things, having a rib or chicken sale, a bake sale. They were talking about having a mother-son or father-daughter dance, or a mother-daughter tea, or a craft sale, different things that they had in mind that they brought up and said they just wanted to give some ideas of things that they might be able to do. I would also like to throw this out, and I didn't bring this up to the students, but I'm going to tell them, if they go to the national convention, I think I'm going to require them to do another service project to show their appreciation for being able to go to that. So that's what I'm requesting, allow us to do some type of a fundraiser.
Jeff, how many do you plan? How many needs to go?
I
know these
as of-
four, and then
yeah, we
Presley,
took-
but Presley's
yeah.
passed. How
Right,
many is that?
and then all the ones in there, yeah. We could probably take 50 or a little more than that, maybe even, for those that are interested.
And you're talking $15,000.
Probably.
Or more. But at this time, you're asking for just permission to
I'm
be
just
able to
asking
have
permission that
fundraisers.
we can go out and raise funds or talk to people and see, you know, if there's people that are interested in a sponsorship, some businesses that are, you know, they've seen, there's been a lot of promotion about the robot. So that's been great. We've gotten some really good press on that, so.
I want to make sure, Board, I would support this, I'd recommend this, except for doing that solicitation where we're at the four-way stop, asking for donations, that's just not safe.
Right.
So other than that, I have no problem with it, I would support it.
Yes, sir. I mean, just like Ms. Johnson said, it highlights our community again, you know, to be able, something like a national championship. You know, kids don't get the opportunity to go out and do that. So if we, whatever we can do to support it, we'll be more than willing.
I make a motion, we give permission to fundraise.
I think I.
Motion second, we give the Beta Club permission to fundraise. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed no, and it is approved.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the celebrations for our students and what they've been successful with at Beta Convention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next thing is going to be the approval of the 2018-19 school calendar. George, as you did, opinions from different groups.
Yes, and I've done this now for, I think, a couple of years. I solicit from the faculty advisory committee of each campus. I give them attendance of what the Tennessee Code Annotated requires for a 180-day school calendar. They come up with, and they came up with 6 different choices for calendar options. They all meet the criteria required, which includes, of course, 180 school days. Then through the course of, I believe we started the competition, or not competition, we started these surveys where they were to choose from their best to their last choice, best choice, first choice to the last choice. And I have included in that Google form the breakdowns, which you see here, the choices being made. The first choice that had overwhelmingly the first choice was calendar D option, which is also included in your packet. This calendar D option, there was about 162 staff. This was both certified staff, our teachers, principals, supervisors, and our classified staff, custodians, cafeteria staff, maintenance. anybody that, parapros, they had an opportunity to vote. Everybody had an opportunity to vote. 162 voted total, and then of the 162, 103 of them voted for calendar D as their first option. So by far above the rest. And I give you some statistical breakdowns below, but again, if it's solely based on the choices of the educators, choices of the classified staff, the calendar D option was the choice most preferred.
Make a motion to approve.
I got a question. How come there was only 162? I know you probably can't answer that, but
I can't, I mean, they had opportunities, and we kept that survey open for at least 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks.
I make a motion to approve calendar D as presented for the 2018-2019 school year.
Second.
All right, we have a motion second to approve option D for the 2018-19 school calendar. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no, and it is approved. All right, next thing is going to be track and field student survey results. I believe Mr. West Pete's going to inform us of that.
Yes, we did a survey of the students, gave them a couple of days, and then even after I sent Coach Kills the results, we had several individuals that came up to me, and those numbers that I have is we had 30 to 35 students total that were interested in starting track and field. And to break that down, I took their name and what areas they were interested in. A lot of them didn't know, because it's new here to this area, that multiple students could participate in multiple different events. And also of those 35, 15 are not even student athletes that are playing previous sports now, wanted to participate in something. A lot of those were our cross-country kids, and we've gone to cross-country state the last 2 years with Mr. Allen, but we've also looked at, I've had questions about practice areas and cost and coaches, and I'll be willing to answer those questions for you if you've got any. But we've got right now 35 kids total that have signed their name saying that we would be willing to participate if there were to be a track team started at Chester County High School. We've got some individuals that want to coach. Coach Kilser asked me about the cost. The cost is not that much. The area schools around here, like Adamsville, all your Jackson-Madison County schools have a track team. They don't have a track facility to practice at. That is a very expensive thing that a lot of schools don't have. Most of your track kids are your cross-country runners or your football players or your basketball players that are out of season. So it gives them another sport that they can participate in. It is in the spring. There are about 4 or 5 certified TSSAA meets in West Tennessee. 2 of them happen at USJ, one's at Dyersburg, one's at Union City, and then of course Memphis inner city track is a big thing. We have Millington, Arlington, and Brighton that could be possibility meets that we go to. So you're looking at 5, maybe 6. They are all in the month of April and May. And the cost is not that much. To be honest, some starting blocks and about 2 or 3 batons that you can pass. We would have to talk about uniforms, but I mean...
What's a ballpark figure?
We're talking about a couple of $100 for those 2 things that I told you. Hurdles, that's if you wanted to do the hurdles, that could be later, at a later date. Hurdles, you could buy 10 or 15 of those and actually practice that on your football field. It's what most schools do. It's what I talked to the AD at Adamsville. Miss Jan said they do. The coaching salary, of course, that would have to be negotiated, how we wanted to do that versus the time and effort that be. And uniforms, when I coached track at JCM those 2 years, we went to like our local Marla Davidson and our Henderson Trophy, and we just got the dry with the dry fit Nike with the logo. The students paid for them. You know, we're talking $20-$30. That could be a cost to them. And then the shoes were their responsibility, track shoes. So we're not talking about a huge expense. Our biggest expense would be a supplement, and we would have to discuss that of what we wanted to pay someone to do that. And we do have 2 staff members that have expressed interest that if it were to be started, they would like to participate as being a coach.
So apart from the supplements, what's your total cost?
We're looking at, if we provided uniforms and did some things like that, and now that's not accounting the entrance fees and bus, what it would cost. I'm thinking we're under $500 to start a track team. That's even, I'm thinking if we purchase hurdles, which I don't think we need to do right off the bat, see how it goes the first year, how many kids actually participate, but, aside coaching, this is not a big expense.
And I'd like to say this, if it costs us $1,000 or $1,500 and we included their shoes for them, I believe that's what, we don't want to limit a kid to be able to participate in track for not being able to get a pair of track shoes.
Right.
Too. So my recommendation would be the whole package, checking to see what that is. Because you're talking about, so I thought that number was a little higher than that, but they may not came back and said, because what we did a couple phases.
Right.
Had it set up in the cafeteria by sport that they want, or by event that they wanted to.
Right, and what happened was the kids started coming back to me saying, hey, I didn't know I could sign up for this and this, so I started making notations, but we're looking at a normal track team at some of these schools around here, they're only picking, 15, 20 kids to take to, and we had 35 that came and signed up. So we're talking about having to right off the bat, have tryouts and things like that.
And so you said 15 don't even participate?
15 don't even participate in an athletic sport we have now. So we're looking at, something that new, we would have some new student athletes that would give them a chance to participate in something.
So their practice starts in February?
Yeah, it's
February, just like a spring sport.
Right.
So they would start out for tryouts sometime in February?
yes, sir.
So this would be what, during baseball or softball?
Yeah, the only sports that this would be our spring sports. So if you play baseball, softball, or boys soccer, you probably wouldn't be. But any of our football players, basketball players, cross country, and volleyball, any of our fall, winter sports would be able to participate. They would be eligible to participate. And if you want me to go further and get you some definite numbers, I can. But I can, from being on the JCM side of it, when I helped those 2 years I was there, it was a boys and girls track coach. It was, and I don't mean to be rude, but you can either run or you can't. You hear a horn, you take off, and you run to the finish line. And they can either do it or they can't. And you need shoes, a shirt and shorts, and you're an athlete, and you take off. But the relays, the long distance, we've got those kids. They're already our cross-country kids. They do the long distance stuff anyway.
Let me ask you this, those kids that signed up, I mean, you can't say for sure.
Right.
But do they want to do this?
I would say of the 35 that signed up, you would have 15 that would show up for practice tomorrow. If you said it's practice, you'd have 15 that would show up. Now, that 15, how many of them can actually run, that would be up to a coach to decide. But I would say you'd have 15 to 20 that would show up to participate, which is more than you could load on a bus and take to a meet.
It's getting close to February, so if we're wanting to have a team, I would think we would need to basically go ahead and possibly start one.
So you said there is interest, somebody is interested in.
Yes, sir. We've got 2 individuals that are definite, would definitely talk about it. Of course, they want to talk about, the compensation, the supplement, but are very interested in that and Dr. Catlett would be very confident that we would give them the opportunity to be a track coach.
What kind of supplement are we talking about, Charlie?
I'd want to look at what we're paying spring sports in comparison. obviously we don't want to come highballing in there and give a hurt feeling to a baseball coach or
Right.
softball coach.
Right.
There is a lot of work to build a program like this as compared to established program. But we also don't want to cause people not to want to consider it.
Right.
But with 5 or 6 meets, I mean, it's not, if it is, you know, if you look at it in comparison to what we're paying baseball or softball, they play more than 5 or 6
Right,
meets.
right.
So, you know, it needs to look about how much contribution, how much time outside of the school hours are spending on it. We have paid supplements before. I'd like to research what we've done in the past. But,
What are we paying the cross-country coach?
$1,000.
Well, this shouldn't be over there. Should it?
I'd rather reserve my judgment until I have a chance to look at it.
Or can we make a motion contingent upon your research and agreement with the coach that we pursue the program?
Yeah, we would have to do more than just the board approve this, because there would be some requirements for T-Lewis to play to get your team. If you've got 15 kids that have not played any sports, then you gotta go through the physicals,
Right.
check eligibility, confirm eligibility. So there's
And
still
it-
some hoops to jump through with
Right.
T-Lewis to play.
But I've got to get this side of it done before I can activate it as a sport, that we have a coach. We'll have to go through some, they have to get certified and do some stuff, but it can be done. It's, time I don't think will be that big a deal on that side of it. We just got to start the process.
How about we make a motion to start the process of creating a track and field team at Chester County High School?
Okay.
And second. Okay, we have a motion second, we do start a track team at Chester County High School. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Wait,
I'm sorry.
Would you have a problem if, say, coach comes back and says, we need $500 or $800 to start up, to get the equipment? If the school, if we went ahead and said, we gotta get this in order to get the kids trained to be ready to go in April and May, would you have a problem with us going ahead and?
Well, we've got another board meeting, Doc, on 25th of January. That may give us some time to get that resolved.
Okay.
Can I come back then and give you some numbers of what we need
By that time, we can talk to people and
Right.
confirm supplements.
I can give you some supplement information, some coaches, and we can do some definite confirmation then.
Because we have to have the funding in place too.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, seriously, we have to have the budget amendment or whatever we're gonna do out there, because if we don't do that, then we don't really have the authority to spend the money.
We will do that at the next meeting.
Yes, I have that information too.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Uh,
Opposed, no, and we do start us a track team then.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Will, no use reading back there. All right, the board, anybody have anything else? No? All right, all in favor say aye. All right, all in favor say aye. All right, adjourned.